Dr. Maya Chen recalibrated her scanner for the third time, refusing to believe the readings. The holographic display hovered above her workstation, projecting a three-dimensional cross-section of what lay beneath 5 kilometers of ancient ice. The structure's dimensions were staggering, over 3 kilometers in length, with a hull configuration that suggested advanced propulsion systems, unlike anything in the Galactic Council's technical database. "Run diagnostic sequence Alpha 9, she commanded, her breath forming small clouds in the cold air of the research dome. Outside, the perpetual twilight of Kepler 438 EI cast long shadows across the barren ice fields. "Diagnostic complete. All systems functioning within optimal parameters," responded her equipment in a smooth, measured tone. "Confidence rating for scan accuracy, 99.87%. Maya ran her fingers through her short black hair, leaving it standing at odd angles. The implications were either revolutionary or career-ending. Possibly both. The metallic alloy composition matched nothing in known space. Yet the engineering principles, the structural design elements, they were unmistakably human. "Connect me to Professor Ibarra at Titan University," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her veins. The communication array chimed twice before the holographic image of a stern-faced woman appeared above Maya's workstation. Professor Lydia Ibarra's eyes widened as Maya transferred the scan data. "This can't be right," Ibarra said, manipulating the holographic model with practiced precision. "The dating analysis. I've run it 17 times, Maya interrupted. "The hull material is 1.02 million years old, give or take a few thousand years. That's not even within the realm of possibility, Lydia. Humanity was still figuring out stone tools on Earth back then." Ibarra's expression hardened. "The Council won't accept this. You know how they view humanity. Barely evolved primates who got lucky with their faster-than-light breakthrough. The Exathuri representatives already argue we were admitted to the Council too soon." "The evidence doesn't care about Council politics," Maya replied, calling up another scan showing internal compartments within the massive structure. "And there's more. These readings suggest intact power systems, dormant but not dead. Whatever this is, it's not just a relic. It might be functional." Ibarra's holographic form flickered as she leaned closer to her own display. "These compartments here and here," she pointed to a series of small chambers arranged in rows. "They look like preservation pods. Maya, if there are bodies in there, then we're not just rewriting human history," Maya finished the thought. "We're rewriting galactic history." The communication suddenly cut out, replaced by the stern visage of Sub-Director Krell, the Exathuri liaison to human scientific expeditions. His compound eyes reflected the light in unsettling patterns. "Dr. Chen, your transmission to Titan University has been flagged for content of security concern," he chittered, mandibles clicking with each syllable. "You are hereby ordered to cease all excavation activities pending a formal review. A Council security detachment will arrive within 36 hours to secure your research site." The transmission ended before Maya could respond. She glanced at the excavation drones waiting outside the dome, then at the scan data still hovering in the air. 36 hours wasn't much time, but it might be enough. "Begin targeted excavation," she instructed the lead drone. "We need a direct access point to the primary airlock structure identified in Scan Quadrant 7. As the drones deployed into the howling wind, Maya packed essential equipment into a reinforced case. The Council would shut down her operation, classify everything, and she'd spend years fighting bureaucracy while this discovery remained buried and forgotten. She wasn't going to let that happen. Not when she was standing on the threshold of the greatest archaeological find in human history, a discovery that could fundamentally change humanity's place among the stars. The excavation drone's cutting beam sliced through the final layer of ice, revealing a massive circular hatch embedded in what appeared to be darkened metal. Maya's hand-picked team, 5 specialists who had answered her urgent call despite the risk to their careers, gathered around the opening, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of portable lights. The alloy composition doesn't match anything in our database, Dr. Riza Kavis said, running a materials scanner across the surface. The physicist's hands trembled slightly with excitement. It's absorbing our scanning frequencies rather than reflecting them. That's not possible with current material science. Lieutenant Sophia Diaz, a military engineer Maya had convinced to join them off record, examined the circular indentation at the center of the hatch. This looks like a manual override. No power required. She pressed her palm against it, then rotated clockwise. Nothing happened. It's probably coded to specific biometrics. Let me try. Maya placed her hand where Sophia's had been. To everyone's surprise, the indentation pulsed with sudden warmth, and a series of lights illuminated around the hatch's circumference. That's odd. Maybe it's not calibrated for specific individuals, just for human genetic markers, suggested Dr. Jun Park, the team's exobiologist. If this is truly of human origin, perhaps it was designed to respond to any human. A low hum resonated through the ice beneath their feet, and the massive hatch began to rotate slowly, revealing darkness beyond. Stale air rushed out, carrying the faint scent of ozone, and something else, the indefinable absence of time's passage. Let's move, Maya said, suddenly aware that Council security forces could arrive earlier than expected. Full environmental suits until we've confirmed the internal atmosphere. The team descended through the open hatch, helmet lights cutting through darkness untouched for 1,000,000 years. Unlike the rough-cut ice tunnel above, the interior corridors were perfectly preserved, smooth surfaces with elegant geometric patterns etched into what resembled metal but felt warm to the touch, even through their gloves. These markings, Dr. Kavis said, tracing patterns on the wall, they're not just decorative, they're conducting energy. I can feel vibrations through my gloves. The ship is waking up, Sophia whispered. It knows we're here. They followed a widening corridor that led to a vast chamber dominated by a circular arrangement of what appeared to be translucent pods. Frost covered their surfaces, obscuring what lay within. As the team approached, lights activated sequentially around the room, illuminating each pod in turn. Life support systems, Dr. Park said, examining a nearby control interface. These are stasis chambers, and if I'm reading this correctly, they're still active. Maya approached the central pod where the frost was already beginning to melt, revealing a human figure within. A woman, her features sharp and defined, dark hair cut in a precise military style. She wore a uniform of unfamiliar design, with insignia suggesting high rank. The pod systems are cycling, Dr. Leila Nazari, their medical specialist, reported, studying readings on her portable scanner. It's initiating a revival sequence. Maya, we should stop this until we understand. Before she could finish, the pod surface became transparent, and a seam appeared along its length. With a soft hiss of equalizing pressure, the pod opened. The woman's eyelids fluttered, then opened fully, revealing eyes of startling intensity that immediately focused on Maya. Identify yourself and your authorization level, the woman said, her voice clear and commanding despite 1,000,000 years of silence. Maya stepped forward. I'm Dr. Maya Chen, synorchaeologist from Earth. We found your ship buried in ice. The woman sat up in a single fluid motion, seemingly unaffected by her long stasis. Commander Elara Jackson, 7th Fleet, Terran Dominion Naval Forces. Her gaze swept the chamber, assessing. How long have we been dormant? Maya hesitated, then answered truthfully. Based on our dating of the hull materials, approximately 1,000,000 years. Commander Jackson's composed expression didn't waver, but something flickered in her eyes, a momentary calculation of all she had lost. The void. Has it returned? Maya exchanged confused glances with her team. The void. I don't understand. You will, Commander Jackson said grimly, rising to her feet. That's why we're waking up. Commander Jackson moved through Maya's research dome with predatory grace, examining modern equipment with a mixture of curiosity and dismay. Her fingers traced the edge of a holographic display, testing its resistance. "Primitive," she murmured, though without condescension. "But functional. You've done well with what you have." Maya watched as the ancient officer activated a small device she'd retrieved from the ship, a metallic disc no larger than her palm. When placed on the central table, it projected a three-dimensional star map of breathtaking detail and complexity. The galaxy spun slowly above them, certain regions highlighted in pulsing red. "The Terran Dominion at its height," Commander Jackson explained, manipulating the projection with subtle hand gestures. 317 settled systems, population of approximately 900 billion humans, and affiliated species. Dr. Park inhaled sharply. "Current human population across all colonies is barely 20 billion. We were not just numerous," Commander Jackson continued. "We were advanced." The projection shifted, showing massive orbital structures around multiple worlds. Dyson swarms around 17 stars. Computational substrates capable of housing billions of uploaded consciousnesses, engineered biospheres on previously uninhabitable worlds. Sophia leaned forward, her military training evident in her posture. "And your weapons? Your defenses?" A ghost of a smile touched Commander Jackson's lips. "Beyond anything you can currently comprehend. We had mastered gravity manipulation, consciousness transfer, even limited causality engineering." "Then how did you fall?" Maya asked softly. The commander's expression darkened. With a wave of her hand, the projection changed. Black tendrils appeared at the galaxy's edge, spreading inward like a slow infection. Where they touched, the bright points of Dominion worlds darkened and vanished. "We called it the Void. Not a species, not a civilization, something else entirely. A consciousness that evolved beyond physical form, existing in the spaces between dimensions." Her voice remained steady, but her eyes reflected old horrors. It consumed minds directly, not just killing people, absorbing them. Their memories, their personalities, their very sense of self, integrated into its expanding awareness. Maya's communications unit chimed insistently. She glanced at it, then paled. 3 colonial outposts have gone dark in the past 72 hours. Proxima Centauri Station, Gliese 800 and 32C Mining Colony, and New Mariana Research Outpost. "Show me their locations," Commander Jackson demanded. Maya transferred the data to the projection. 3 points appeared, forming a perfect equilateral triangle in the galactic eastern quadrant. "It's starting again," the commander whispered. "This pattern, it's how it begins. Strategic positioning for what comes next." "Which is what?" Dr. Cave asked. "Acceleration." Commander Jackson expanded the projection, highlighting dozens of ancient ship locations throughout the galaxy. The Void starts slowly, testing defenses, analyzing response patterns. Then it accelerates exponentially. In our time, we lost 20 worlds in the first year, 300 in the second. The third year, we were facing extinction. The projection centered on Earth, the cradle of humanity. We knew we couldn't defeat it conventionally, so we enacted Operation Timekeeper, our last hope. We sent our most advanced battle fleet into temporal stasis, scattered throughout the galaxy, programmed to awaken when the Void returned. Her eyes met Maya's. We erased all records of our civilization, let humanity start over from Earth, evolving along a different path that might escape the Void's notice. Maya studied the tactical display with growing horror. If what you're saying is true, then those 3 outposts are just the beginning. Yes, Commander Jackson confirmed. And we have less time than I feared. Your civilization is fragile, unready. She gestured to the communications unit. Your Galactic Council, will they listen to warnings? They dismissed my discovery of your ship as equipment malfunction, Maya admitted. Then we must awaken the fleet quickly, the commander said, a new urgency in her voice. The Void doesn't just consume individuals. It consumes entire civilizations, entire histories, and it has remembered humanity. The ancient warship broke free from its icy tomb with surprising grace, ice crystals cascading from its hull like diamond waterfalls. Its surface, once exposed to sunlight, revealed intricate patterns that seemed to absorb and redirect light in impossible ways. The vessel was massive, nearly 4 kilometers in length, yet it hovered above Kepler 438 Eli with the effortless poise of a dancer. On the bridge, Commander Jackson stood at the central command interface, her fingers dancing across controls that responded to her touch as if the million-year gap had been mere moments. Maya watched in awe as holographic displays materialized around them, showing the status of systems she couldn't begin to comprehend. Quantum Entanglement Network establishing connections with sister vessels, reported a newly awakened officer, Lieutenant Commander Hayes, Jackson's second-in-command. His uniform bore emblems Maya didn't recognize, though he carried himself with the unmistakable bearing of a career military officer. 17 vessels have responded so far. Awakening protocols initiated. Only 17. Commander Jackson's brow furrowed. There should be hundreds. Some may have been compromised over time, Hayes suggested, or they're in regions with signal interference. Maya's attention was drawn to a secondary display showing an incoming transmission. Commander, we're being hailed by a HFY dreadnought. They're demanding we identify ourselves and power down immediately. Jackson nodded. Open a channel. When the connection established, she faced the communication display with calm authority. This is Commander Elara Jackson of the Terran Dominion vessel Resolute. We are on a priority mission and cannot comply with your request to power down. The HFY commander's compound eyes reflected multiple images of the bridge crew. Terran Dominion. There is no such political entity. Identify your actual origin immediately or face orbital interdiction. The lack of your knowledge doesn't negate our existence, Jackson replied evenly. We predate your records. I suggest you contact your superiors regarding an imminent threat to all sentient life. 3 of your outposts have already been lost. The HFY's mandibles clicked in what Maya recognized as their expression of dismissal. Your vessel will be escorted to Galactic Council headquarters for inspection and your crew detained for questioning. Comply immediately. Jackson ended the transmission with a simple gesture. They're not going to listen until it's too late. She turned to Hayes. Prepare for dimensional shift. We need to rendezvous with the Intrepid in the Cygnus sector. Wait, Maya interjected. You can't just disappear. The Council will interpret that as hostility. We don't have time for politics, Jackson countered, though her tone remained measured. Every moment we delay, more worlds fall to the void. I understand your concern, Dr. Chen, but this ship and its mission supersede diplomatic niceties. The HFY dreadnought moved into position above them, weapon systems visibly charging. 3 smaller escort vessels took flanking positions. They're preparing to fire warning shots, Hayes reported calmly. Jackson met Maya's eyes. Your council sees us as a threat. The void is the true enemy, and it's already here. I cannot risk this vessel or its crew on the chance that bureaucrats will listen to reason. Maya made her decision. Take me with you. I can be your advocate with the council once you've gathered more of your fleet. They know me. They'll at least hear me out. A slight smile touched the commander's lips. Decision made then. She nodded to Hayes. Dimensional shift in 3 seconds. Bring the doctor's associates if they wish to come. The HFY dreadnought fired, energy weapons blazing toward the ancient vessel, only to pass through empty space as the Resolute seemed to fold into itself, disappearing in a ripple of distorted light that defied the fundamental laws of physics as Maya understood them. When her vision cleared, the view screen showed a completely different star system, with another massive vessel waiting nearby, the first of many that would soon form the reborn fleet of humanity's forgotten guardians. The Cygnus Defense Fleet, pride of the Galactic Council's Eastern Quadrant forces, moved in perfect formation toward the anomaly. 57 warships representing the combined might of 17 species approached the expanding darkness that had already consumed 3 outposts. Admiral Vresh of the Meridian Conclave, a veteran of 3 border conflicts, watched the tactical display with growing unease. The anomaly defied standard classification, neither a spatial distortion nor a conventional attack force. It simply existed as absence, a perfect void that absorbed all sensor readings and, apparently, all matter it encountered. Range to intercept, 30 seconds, reported his first officer. Vresh nodded. All vessels, maintain formation. Weapons free, but hold fire until my command. The Council fleet approached the darkness cautiously. At the predetermined distance, they halted, arraying their firepower in an impressive display meant to demonstrate strength while diplomatic channels attempted communication. No response came from the darkness. Instead, it rippled. Tendrils of absolute blackness reached out, moving faster than tracking systems could follow. The first Council vessel disappeared silently, without distress signals or debris. Then another, and another. Open fire, Vresh commanded, his composure fracturing. All weapons, maximum yield. Energy weapons and kinetic projectiles lanced toward the darkness, only to vanish without effect. The tendrils moved with increasing speed, consuming ships whole. Vresh had time to transmit one final message to Council headquarters before the darkness enveloped his flagship. In the observation chamber of Galactic Council headquarters, representatives from 17 species watched in stunned silence as the feed from Admiral Vresh's final transmission played on a massive display. The entire Cygnus defense fleet, gone in less than 7 minutes. The Exetheri High Representative, Krizik, broke the silence. The human woman was correct. This threat is beyond our experience. Maya stood before the Council, Commander Jackson at her side. They had arrived at headquarters moments after news of the Cygnus disaster reached the Council. What you witnessed is only the beginning, Jackson explained, her voice steady. The void consumes consciousness as well as matter. Every mind it absorbs makes it stronger, more adaptive. Why target humans first? Asked the Rathi ambassador, her luminous membranes pulsing with distress. A pattern of attacks focused on human settlements before expanding. Because we faced it before, Jackson replied. 1,000,000 years ago, humanity stood against the void and drove it back. It remembers us. Murmurs swept through the chamber. The Council first speaker raised a hand for silence. We have reports of unknown vessels appearing throughout Council space. Vessels matching the configuration of Commander Jackson's ship. Is this your doing? Jackson nodded. The Dominion fleet is awakening as programmed. Each ship carries warriors and technology designed specifically to combat the void. Technology you have not shared with modern humanity, observed the first speaker. Why? Maya stepped forward. The evidence suggests a deliberate strategy. The ancient Terran Dominion erased itself from history, allowing humanity to evolve again differently. They hid their fleet throughout the galaxy, to be awakened only when needed. On the main display, emergency signals began flashing. New reports of attacks. 5 more systems gone dark in the past hour. The void was accelerating its consumption. We don't have time for debate, Jackson said, addressing the entire Council. My fleet stands ready to engage the void, but we will need support. Coordination. Resources. The first speaker studied the ancient commander, then turned to the full Council. We face extinction if this threat continues unchecked. I propose an emergency protocol, full cooperation with Commander Jackson's forces. The vote was not unanimous, but the majority recognized necessity. As the Council chamber erupted in activity, Maya caught Jackson watching the strategic display with an expression that mixed determination with something else. Recognition. You've seen this pattern before, Maya said quietly. Jackson nodded. In the final days of the Dominion. The void is testing us, learning our defenses. Her eyes remained fixed on the display. It's evolving faster this time. We need to gather the fleet quickly. On the screen, the darkness continued to spread, consuming stars like a cancer devouring healthy tissue. The rogue planet drifted silently through interstellar darkness, following no star's orbit, its surface utterly black against the void of space. No natural process could explain the perfect spherical shape or the complete absence of thermal signatures. The Resolute approached cautiously, accompanied by 3 other ancient vessels and a small contingent of Council observer ships. "This is it?" Maya asked, staring at the view screen. "It doesn't look like a facility." Commander Jackson's expression remained neutral. The exterior was designed to avoid detection. "What you're seeing is a shell of exotic matter, a cloaking system that's functioned flawlessly for 1,000,000 years." Lieutenant Commander Hayes approached with a data crystal. "Awakening codes confirmed, Commander. The facility recognizes us." Jackson nodded and entered a sequence into her command interface. The view screen shifted spectrum, revealing what had been invisible: a massive structure embedded within the planetoid. Intricate patterns of light traced across its surface, pulsing in complex rhythms. "The memory archive," Jackson explained. "The Dominion's most closely guarded secret. Inside is the technology that gave us our only advantage against the Void." The Resolute extended a docking umbilical that connected with the facility. Jackson selected a small team, including Maya and representatives from 3 Council species. As they traversed the connection tube, Maya noticed the walls were inscribed with symbols similar to those on the ship, but more complex. "These are mnemonic triggers," Jackson explained, noticing Maya's interest. "The ancient language of consciousness." "I don't understand," said Krell, the Exatheri observer, his compound eyes reflecting the pulsing symbols. "You will," Jackson replied as they reached the interior. The facility opened into a vast chamber that defied conventional architecture. Surfaces curved in directions that seemed to bend perception itself. At the center floated a crystalline structure resembling a human neural network, scaled to impossible proportions. "The memory key," Jackson said reverently. "Our greatest achievement and most terrible weapon." She approached a control interface and placed her palm against it. The entire chamber hummed with energy as holographic displays activated, showing technical schematics too complex for Maya to comprehend. "The Dominion discovered that consciousness isn't merely a product of neural activity," Jackson explained. "It's a fundamental property of the universe, like gravity or electromagnetism. We learned to interface directly with this property, to extend human consciousness beyond physical limitations. Like the Void," Maya realized. "It exists as pure consciousness." Jackson nodded. "Exactly. The Void is a consciousness that escaped its creators, an earlier iteration of humanity from a civilization even we had forgotten. It evolved, learned to consume other minds, and eventually became the entity we fought." "You fought fire with fire," said the Morrigan representative, her tentacles rippling with understanding. "The memory key allows a pilot to extend their consciousness into our weaponry," Jackson continued. "Our ships don't just fire energy weapons, they project focused consciousness, the only thing that can truly harm the Void." She activated a secondary display, showing the neural pathways of a human brain interfacing with ship systems. "The neural load is extreme. Many pilots couldn't withstand it." "And you expect modern humans to use this technology?" Krell asked, his tone skeptical. "No," Jackson said. "My crew was genetically engineered for neural resilience, but the key can be modified to distribute the load across multiple minds. A unified consciousness network." She turned to Maya. "That's where you come in. Modern humans evolved differently than we did. Your neural patterns show adaptations we never developed. Combined with representatives from Council species, we might create something the Void has never encountered, a truly diverse consciousness." Maya studied the technical schematics with growing understanding. "A collective mind drawn from different evolutionary paths." "Exactly," Jackson confirmed. "The Void consumes individual consciousness. It has no defense against a unified network of different species working in concert. The crystalline structure at the chamber's center pulsed brighter, as if responding to their realization. Around them, the ancient facility continued its awakening, systems dormant for 1,000,000 years preparing for humanity's last stand against the darkness. The galactic core blazed with the light of 1,000,000 suns, a swirling concentration of stellar bodies that had witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. Now it witnessed something unprecedented. The assembled might of the ancient Dominion fleet alongside vessels from all 17 Council species, arrayed in a defensive formation that spanned light years. Aboard the Resolute, Commander Jackson studied the tactical display with Maya and representatives from the Council races. The holographic projection showed the Void's advance, a spreading darkness consuming entire star systems as it moved inexorably toward the core. The Void has adapted its strategy, Jackson observed. It's targeting communication relays and dimensional anchor points. It's learned from our previous encounter. "How many ships have we assembled?" asked Ambassador Vel of the Meridian Conclave, her crystalline form refracting light in complex patterns. 173 Dominion vessels fully operational, Lieutenant Commander Hayes reported. Another 42 at partial capacity. The Council fleet numbers just over 2,000 ships. "Not enough," Jackson said quietly. "Not nearly enough." The tactical display updated, showing new incursions at the formation's edge. The darkness moved with purpose now, probing for weaknesses, testing defenses with precision strikes. It's hunting the ancient ships specifically, Maya realized, watching the pattern of attacks. "Look at the concentration of strikes against Dominion vessels." Jackson nodded. "It remembers us. It fears what we can do with the memory key technology." On the display, a Dominion cruiser vanished, consumed by a tendril of darkness that struck with surgical precision. Then another. The ancient vessels fought back with weapons that distorted space itself, driving back the darkness momentarily before it reformed and struck again. "We need more time," Maya said urgently. "The consciousness interface network isn't ready. The neural pathways between species are still stabilizing." "Time is the one resource we don't have," Jackson replied, her voice betraying the first hint of uncertainty Maya had heard from her. A priority communication interrupted them. The Council first speaker appearing on the main view screen, his expression grave. "Commander Jackson, the Void has changed course. It's bypassing our primary defense line and heading directly for the Sol system." Jackson's face paled. "Earth. It's targeting humanity's homeworld." "Not just Earth," the first speaker corrected. "All primary human worlds. Simultaneous attacks have been detected at every major human settlement." Maya felt a cold dread settle in her stomach. "It's trying to eradicate us completely, to prevent any possibility of the memory key being used against it." Jackson turned to Hayes. "Redirect all Dominion vessels to human worlds. Priority 1 protection protocols. That will leave other Council worlds vulnerable," Ambassador Vel objected. "If humanity falls, the memory key technology becomes useless," Jackson countered. "The Void knows this. It's why it's targeting us specifically." The tactical display showed the ancient fleet breaking formation, vessels vanishing into dimensional shifts as they redeployed to defend human settlements across the galaxy. The Council fleet moved to fill the gaps, stretching their defenses dangerously thin. "We need to accelerate the consciousness interface project," Maya said, accessing the research data from the memory archive. "If we can distribute the neural load across multiple species, we might be able to create a defense the Void can't counter." Jackson studied the data, then nodded decisively. "We'll make our stand at Earth. If we can demonstrate the effectiveness of a multi-species consciousness link there, the Council can replicate it elsewhere." The Resolute shuddered as space distorted around it, the dimensional drive engaging. On the view screen, the blazing beauty of the galactic core vanished, replaced by the familiar blue sphere of humanity's birthplace. And approaching from the darkness between stars, tendrils of absolute void reached toward the cradle of human civilization, with singular purpose. Earth's orbital defense platforms, hastily retrofitted with modified Dominion technology, fired continuously into the approaching darkness. The ancient fleet formed a protective sphere around humanity's homeworld, their weapons creating ripples of distorted space that temporarily pushed back the void's tendrils. Deep beneath the Himalayan mountains, in a facility converted from an old military bunker, Maya supervised the final calibrations of the memory key interface. Representatives from all 17 council species sat within specialized chambers, neural links connecting them to the central crystalline matrix recovered from the memory archive. Neural synchronization at 78%, reported Dr. Park, monitoring the integration systems. Consciousness mapping stable across 13 species. Maya nodded, her focus absolute despite the exhaustion of 3 days without sleep. We need at least 15 species in harmony to generate a field strong enough to affect the void. Commander Jackson entered the chamber, her uniform bearing the marks of recent combat. The orbital defense is failing. The Resolute is preparing for a final push into the heart of the void entity, but we need the consciousness field operational. 4 minutes to full synchronization, Maya replied, not looking up from her work. Jackson approached the central interface where a modified command chair awaited. This is where I'll connect. Yes, Maya confirmed. Your neural pathways are already adapted to the memory key technology. You'll serve as the conduit between the unified consciousness and the Resolute systems. Above them, the battle for Earth intensified. The void had learned to counter some of the ancient technology, its darkness now piercing through dimensional barriers that had previously held it at bay. 3 Dominion vessels had already been lost, their crews and consciousness-based weapons absorbed into the growing darkness. The Council fleet has arrived, Lieutenant Commander Hayes announced over the facility's communication system. They're holding position behind the moon, awaiting our signal. Maya checked the synchronization progress. 89%. We're almost there. Jackson studied the neural interface readings for each species representative. The Exotheri and Morrigan patterns are fluctuating. Their consciousness structures are fundamentally different from the others. That's actually an advantage, Maya explained. The diversity creates harmonic patterns the void can't easily counter. It's never encountered a truly unified multi-species consciousness before. The facility trembled as something massive impacted the mountains above. Dust rained from the ceiling, but the equipment remained secure. It knows what we're doing, Jackson said grimly. It's targeting this location specifically. The synchronization indicator pulsed green. 100%. It's ready, Maya announced. She turned to Jackson. Once you connect, the unified consciousness will flow through you into the Resolute's systems. You'll be at the center of 17 different species merged awareness. Jackson settled into the command chair. And you? Where will you be? Monitoring the interface stability from here, Maya replied. Someone has to make sure the connection remains intact. Jackson caught her wrist. If this works, the void will direct all its energy at the Resolute. This facility might be the only safe place on Earth. Maya met her gaze steadily. I know, but you'll need guidance within the merged consciousness, someone who understands both ancient and modern perspectives. Understanding dawned in Jackson's eyes. You've modified the system. You're coming with me. Not physically, Maya clarified, but my consciousness will be there, helping to maintain harmony among the 17 species. The facility shook more violently as another impact struck closer. Warning lights flashed throughout the chamber. We're out of time, Jackson said. Initiate the sequence. Maya activated the final command sequence, then settled into a secondary interface chair. Around them, the representatives from 17 species entered the final synchronization phase, their individual consciousness patterns merging into something entirely new. As the neural interface engaged, Maya felt her awareness expanding beyond her physical form. She perceived Jackson beside her in this new realm of pure consciousness, and beyond her, the minds of 17 different species joining together in perfect harmony. Above Earth, the resolute systems pulsed with newfound energy as consciousness itself became a weapon against the darkness.